broader perspective as we're now just crossing over 630 on Doppler radar itself.
Yeah, so we're starting to see that, of course, that between Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, starting to see right around that line of those storms starting to come in. Of course, you can see a parallel of those tornado warnings that are up, of course, all the way from, Indiana all the way up to Hillsdale and even further up, just as you see, just west of Blackman. So, yeah, we're still starting to see more storms just south of our area by Fort Wayne starting to roll in as well. So we're still seeing those storms and multiple tornado warnings. Of course, we still do have that active tornado warning and that, of course, that dangerous tornado warning on the ground for us just out into just Michigan for this evening.
We've got more of our viewers that are now back here on WTOL 11 along with us as we continue this coverage. Reason we're on air is because the entire area is under a tornado watch. That is until 11 o'clock tonight. We've got a couple areas, at least of some concern up there toward Hillsdale County, where we've got confirmed reports of tornadoes. Now, this tornado in itself just outside of our viewing area, but this has been deemed a considerable threat along I-69 and 94. So that is north of Coldwater, Michigan. We've had confirmation of a report of a tornado that was on the ground. And let's go now into northeastern or northwestern parts of Hillsdale County. Let's get a little closer down toward Route 12 here. So this is on the northern edge of Hillsdale County. So the two areas that I'm concerned with just crossing now the Hillsdale County line along Route 12, there's some rotation indicated in that particular area. So just east of Coldwater, Michigan. This is going to be headed up toward Litchfield, where we've got the indication of a little bit of rotation. Doesn't look like anything all that concerning in this particular view, which could be a little bit of good news considering this particular tornado warning is only in effect until 6:45. So if we don't see that stronger rotation, but what I do have is there's a lot of spin in the atmosphere. So any of these cells that do develop will have the potential to spin up. So there it is. The meteorologist Matt Wilby just put that up there just east of Coldwater, Michigan. I told you north of Route 12. That is an area that is showing some rotation that will continue to drift to the east-northeast and likely going to be crossing. Keep in mind, this is a feature on Doppler radar that typically is delayed by about 2 to 3 minutes. So the actual rotation itself is likely a little bit farther east as it continues to track east right around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Keep it right here, Matt. Let's head back down over toward northern Indiana, just getting ready to cross here into the Hillsdale. So right around the Clear Lake area. This is where I want to be right here. So this is the Ohio Turnpike as it crosses out of Ohio into the Indiana Toll Road. Clear Lake, this is the area that we're seeing the potential for that rotation. So it is now getting ready in the next few moments. This will be crossing into Hillsdale County. I can be very confident about that. That is the rotation. So if you are in Camden, right here on M49, if you're M49 from right where it crosses the state line from Williams County into Hillsdale County, if you are M49 through Camden all the way north up to, let's just say, well up there toward about Allen or west of Hillsdale, this is the area that I need you to be in your safe place. We suspect that this is the possible rotation that is now coming into Hillsdale County. When you get a moment, Matt, put the storm track out there on this one and give me that forward motion. I'm assuming this is around 25 to 30 miles per hour. It is in Clear Lake right now, 6:34. It's headed toward Camden at 6:39, in toward Reading at 6:44. Eventually, if this continues its northeasterly track, it's going to be over toward Hillsdale at 6:55, and then Pittsford will be arriving at 7:01. So latest on this, Matt, are we getting any more reports or indications that we've got that rotation that is something more significant at this point?
Yeah, not at this point. We're still seeing that tornado warning active, but not seeing any updates as of right now. Still seeing at least those tornado warnings still active for Hillsdale County. And of course, that tornado warning that's further northern in Hillsdale County is still active as well. But the one that's farther southern into Camden and Cambria is still seeing that active tornado warning. So no updates as of right now.
Let's look at that, Matt, a little bit closer too. So I can actually tell right there. So we've got now what is, go ahead, Matt, can you put the feature that has the brand new tags up on here? We've got now what is tagged a considerable tornado. So this means that this isn't a tornado that we suspect could be indicated by Doppler radar. We know that this is, and go ahead and tag the latest features on this one. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground that is at this point deemed a threat that is considerable, which means that this is very likely somewhat rotating or actually in contact with the surface right here, moving just into western Hillsdale County. I need you in your safe place. If you are in Camden, Michigan, or a neighboring community or township, I need you to be in your safe place. Matt, what you got latest coming in right now?
Yeah, so latest information as of 6:26, they confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Fremont, or about 8 miles northeast of Angola, moving around northeast at 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, that is Fremont, Indiana, correct, Matt? That is Fremont, Indiana. It should
correct.
be
Fremont, Indiana, not
yes.
Fremont, Ohio.
Yep,
correct.
good point. It should be right in this area. So they confirmed the tornado right there, and it is now crossing. So we've got it confirmed. They said a large and dangerous tornado that is on the ground. So I want to stick with this one, Matt, because this is considered a considerable tornado risk. A few things get a little bit closer into this particular area because I think just west of Camden, right there, hold it right there, that's great. We're from Clear Lake to Camden. In this area, I suspect that we're seeing that rotation. Go ahead and cycle through some of our storm features as well, Matt. So if we have a tornado that's confirmed on the ground, which we suspect we may in this area, there may be not only this rotation, there it is. So what we're looking at with this rotation, we're looking at Doppler radar, which is indicating what are winds doing when they're circulating around a tornado. So here's what we've got right here. So we've got winds that are going back towards the radar site here, right around Clear Lake. And imagine this, they're going away from the radar site on the south side of town. We've got a clear circulation here, folks, that is occurring right now over Clear Lake. So this is that confirmed tornado on the ground, and it is now pushing into southwestern parts of Hillsdale County. So here it is. This is tracking directly east to the northeast. I can't tell you this enough. If you are over toward Camden, Michigan, I need you in your safe place at this point because there is a confirmed tornado that is on the ground that is tracking to the east, and it very likely could be rain wraps. I'll just be honest with you. You may not see this tornado coming as that tornado would be tracking to the east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Confirmed tornado. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, what do you have on that? You got more on that?
Yeah, right now we still have that, of course, that confirmed tornado on the ground. So we're going to put up at least some of those tracks out there for us. So we did see about 30 miles per hour. So we're going to at least bring this to you. And of course, like I said, within the next 30 minutes or so, you got Montgomery right at 6:43, Reading at 6:49, and Cambria at 6:53. Hillsdale right at 7 o'clock on the dial. So this is heading towards you. And our latest update is that it is still an active tornado on the ground. So we are seeing those reports right now. NWS says this is a particularly dangerous situation, so make sure you are taking cover right now as we go throughout this night and as we go throughout this evening, Chris.
All right, Matt, yeah, looking at some of those signatures right now, this is now just exiting Clear Lake. So we are moving this now through Clear Lake. It is getting ready to cross out of Indiana, right across the state line into Michigan. I'll be very clear about this one. If you are in Williams County, this may be a little bit close, too close to comfort, but you are just fine if you are in Williams County. So here's the state line right there at the edge of my finger. This is the state line right where M49 then goes north into Camden. This is the area that I'm concerned. And from there, Cambria is going to be next as well. So you're going to be in that direct path. This is going to continue to move across central and southern parts of Hillsdale County. Eventually, this is going to continue to be heading over here towards M99 as well. So this is coming in with the south side of Hillsdale. Not actively in the tornado warning. It actually ends right here. It ends just outside of M99, south of Hillsdale. But here's what I suspect, and I'll be honest with you. I think this is going to likely be extended. This is going to move across Hillsdale County as we've got that considerable risk of a tornado that we've had confirmed just about 15 minutes ago on the ground at 6:26 outside of Fremont, Indiana. Right here, there was a confirmed tornado on the ground, and that is now crossed over into Hillsdale County. We continue to look at some products that would indicate just east of Clear Lake. That is Camden, Michigan, up to about as far north as Reading. I want you in your safe place at this point. So Reading would be right in around here, I do believe, on M49. So really M49 from the state line all the way up, well past Camden. I need you to be in your safe spot. So what we have right here, no indication at this point, Matt, of any debris that's being lofted up. So that's, I suppose, if we had to have a little grain of salt or good news with that, no indication of any debris. But there it is. So here's the here's the velocity signature that we've got on radar. It is just west of Camden. That is where we suspect we could indicate there's strong rotation that is now fully into Hillsdale County, just west of M49. That is where the circulation actively is right now. Matt, likely a rain-wrapped tornado here too. We've got lightning strikes. We've got heavy torrential downpours. You may not see this one coming as it makes its way across Hillsdale County.
Yeah, this is one that, of course, is 640, so it's still light outside. But of course, just as I said, it's rain-wrapped right now, so that's going to be very, very difficult to see that if it is rain-wrapped. And what we mean by that, of course, if you see on the movies, you can see a clear distance of that tornado. But with this, that rain is really going to cover this up. You're not going to be able to see it coming with this rain-wrapped tornado. So this is still a tornado on the ground. As of course, if I pull up at least that tornado warning, still until 7 p.m. For at least expires until 7 p.m. And right now, that update is a confirmed large tornado still on the ground right now. So we're gonna at least see some updates as we check with NWS in just a sec. But we'll start to see those updates as well. We're gonna send it over to Kaylee Bowers as well. She has an update for us.
Yeah, Matt, thanks so much. If you are just tuning in, again, we are tracking a considerable tornado warning in southeast Michigan. So this is the picture that we are looking at. If you're in northwest Ohio, we're not seeing any strong storms yet. This is the system that we're looking at right here, this pink polygon. In fact, if we can zoom in and show you exactly what we're looking at, as far as this threat goes, for parts of Hillsdale County, in fact, it just was allowed to calm down just a little bit. We are still watching that tornado warning. However, it's weakened just a little bit. But if we can go ahead and drive it all over to Max 2, we're seeing right here this one tornado warning. We're talking this tornado warning, multiple tornado warnings. But this is the one we're really focusing on for Hillsdale County, also for Branch County, Steuben County. And this is the thing we're really watching where it says a considerable threat. So looking just a little bit closer again, we're talking about that tornado warning in effect till 7 o'clock this evening. So still about another 18 minutes. Eventually this will be allowed to expire. But if you are in this bright pink polygon, this one down here, if we can actually move it up just a little bit so we can see it on the television right here. If we can move it up on Max 2, this polygon right here down in Hillsdale County. Go the other way. There we go. So this is what we're looking at right there. If we can put the track on this, you got to give yourself a few minutes to get to your safe space. Get to your safe space right now, again, in Hillsdale County, Steuben County, and also into Branch County as well. Now, this is moving about 30 miles an hour, so a very fast-moving storm from Pittsford. You need to be in your safe space at 7:04 tonight. 7:11 in Hudson, Rollin at 7:15, Somerset at 7:19. But again, this tornado warning in effect till 7 o'clock this evening. And of course, we have team coverage all across the studio. We're talking meteorologist Matt Willoughby, meteorologist Don Birchfield, and Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers. Chris, what's the update you're seeing over there?
All right, so got several updates here for you. So the tornado was confirmed by storm spotters on the ground, and they said it was a fairly large tornado. So it was confirmed by storm spotters just outside of Fremont, Indiana. We still are seeing some fairly large rotation on this. This is now coming into Camden, so I'll get a little bit closer to Camden here. This notch is what I'm a little concerned about. Let's take us down a little bit closer to this notch, Matt. I want to investigate this a little bit more because this is right in the track where we suspected. Let's go back a little bit more over here towards Camden. Yeah, this is what I'm concerned about. Right in between Montgomery and Camden. We've also got Long Lake, which is right in this area. I know Hillsdale County is certainly known for all the various lakes. So anywhere from about Long Lake, where you're probably getting pelted with some large hailstones, back over toward Montgomery and into Camden. This is exactly where we're seeing that rotation. Again, velocity within the clouds, which would be indicating those winds are moving toward the radar site in one area, and there they go, and then away from the radar site in another area. So we suspect that this circulation, we're detecting it right now across southwestern parts of Hillsdale County. That extends up to about Long Lake, right along M49, then also over toward right east of Reading. We've got Bankers Lake and Bear Lake in this area that is just east of M49. Really anywhere in this area, keep it right here from Reading to Camden over toward Cambria. This is an area I need you in your safe place. This is considered a considerable risk at this point with the threat that we could be seeing an active circulation or an active tornado that could be on the ground across Hillsdale County. So let's set the stage here, wider perspective on what's going on. We don't have any active severe weather right now in the Toledo metro. Before we move out of Hillsdale County, I want to take a quick look down over here towards Indiana. That's a concerning storm right there. That is just north and west of Fort Wayne. That is a monster storm that is occurring right now. Severe thunderstorm warning. Look at this. It is deemed a destructive threat, which would mean it would have winds at about 80 miles per hour and extremely large hail. And we've got really some concern about this one as it would continue to move to the north and to the east, maybe impacting parts of Williams County and Defiance County on that. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, you've got more on what's happening with this?
Yeah, with that exact system right there for that severe thunderstorm warning, we do have a hazard of baseball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The NWS explained this as a destructive storm. So anybody that is within this area should take cover right now as that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect right now. Well, they said baseball-sized hail, Chris.
Baseball-sized hail. Let's head back over really quick. I want the storm motion on that one, too, because I need to let people in Williams and Defiance know if that's going to be a threat for them. That storm motion on that is still west of I-69, but I want to keep an eye on that because that could turn out to be one of the more prolific supercells that we end up dealing with at some point. So it's going to be moving to the north and to the east. It's producing a prolific amount of lightning, heavy downpours, and this is going to continue to move to the north and to the east and moving right around 30 miles per hour. So if this makes its way over to Williams County, this is going to be sometime after about 7:20 p.m. So let's go ahead and let's keep that in your back pocket. We've got a monster storm that is just north of Fort Wayne, Indiana, northwest of Fort Wayne, not actively in our area right now. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but it is producing baseball-sized hail, incredibly large hail that is being reported with that cell. Let's head back up to this tornado warning up here into Hillsdale County. A little bit of good news. We've had up to 2 active tornado warnings in Hillsdale County. One of them, now that we're after 6:45, has been allowed to expire. That was the one that was just along and north of Route 12. We still have this active tornado warning. It's in effect until 7 p.m. It includes just Hillsdale County, and the threat at this point is considerable, where we've had storm spotters that have confirmed that there was a tornado on the ground right here just west of Clear Lake, Indiana, and is now crossed into Hillsdale County, and it continues its northeasterly track right around 30 miles per hour. And here's some areas that it's going to be headed to. We mentioned Cambria at 6:48. That's within 60 seconds. So as I've been telling you, got to be in your safe place. If you are anywhere in the track of this one, we'll keep this up here going here. Jefferson at 6:57. Pittsford, we highlighted that about 15 minutes ago. That's going to be just after 7 o'clock. And then over toward Rollin and Somerset, that's going to be after 7:10 to about 7:15. That is going to continue to make its way across Hillsdale County. Let's keep this here at the latest scan right now. And there we go, right there. So this is where I would suspect, and take it over to the latest scan, a couple areas, a couple notches that we're showing here on the southern flank of this. That's where this storm is really just eating up or ingesting some of that warmer air that's rising up into this storm that's allowing really the rotation to sustain itself that is now moving along and east of M50. So coming up here, we're going to hope for the best. If you know friends or family that are in Camden, if you haven't already given them a call, make sure you check in with them. I want to hear that they're okay and that everything is just fine over toward Camden. We're going to hope for the best with that. This is going to continue now. The circulation, if I could highlight that, it's going to be along and now moving east of M49. That circulation is going to be along and east of M49. So this is going to be about a decent stretch here of about 15 to 20 miles there along M49 that I still want you in your safe place until we can confirm that this circulation has moved east of you as well. Matt, if you could go ahead and flip back over here too. Let's see what any additional tags on this particular warning that would indicate what the severity of the rotation may be at this point. So still deemed a considerable threat, which is an upper level sort of threshold, so to speak, which means this isn't a tornado warning that we've just estimated by Doppler radar. We have confirmed that this tornado has been on the ground or may continue to still be on the ground. And it is not only on the ground, but producing a considerable threat to life and property. So keep that in mind. It is deemed a considerable threat on that circulation along and east of M49. 6:49 is your time right now. We continue our active tornado warning coverage. All of Northwest Ohio and southern Michigan. You may be wondering, why are we on the TV screen at this point? Let's widen the picture out. Let me show the entire area at this point, because we are just still really on the early edges of this, as storms are now rolling into Hillsdale County, rolling into along the state line. So there's no active severe weather that's occurring right now in the state of Ohio, but we do have an extension. Again, that monster storm that was producing baseball-sized hail that's going toward Kendallville, that is going to be crossing I-69 likely in the next 15 minutes and eventually could be headed over toward parts of Williams County and again up into Hillsdale County as that storm continues to drift to the north and to the east. If it would maintain itself, we'd be talking toward Montpelier about 40 minutes from now at 7:28, the arrival over toward western parts of Williams County. Matt, why don't you give us a bigger perspective on this, what's happening across the area, and again, an active tornado watch in effect for all of Northwest Ohio until 11 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So we have those active tornado warnings in Hillsdale, but also just saw another active tornado warning near Licking, Indiana. So that is one new one that just popped up. And also some of the reports I'm seeing from the NWS chat, we have a really large hail signature moving towards Kendallville, Indiana. So that's just one of the latest reports I've seen. Of course, we're still seeing active severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings, especially with this system right here rolling to Hillsdale. So still a active tornado warning as of right now. But of course, just as you said, Chris, that one out between Auburn and Oblivion, still a very significant storm right there. As they said, baseball-sized hail with that system. So right now, still starting to see those storms just cross the Indiana-Ohio state line within the next several hours at least. So it's just starting to get closer to that state line, as we'll see those storms throughout Northwest Ohio and continuing into Southeast Michigan for this evening, Chris.
That's exactly right. If you could take me back up there toward Hillsdale County, because at this point, that is where we still have the active tornado warning. Why we're going to be continuing this coverage, because we do it for any county here in Northwest Ohio, or the three we cover up there in southern Michigan, alerting you of the potential damages and the risks. So we've got Camden here. That is along M40. I do suspect that we're seeing that risk now shift to the east. Now, this may extend about as far north up to about Bear Lake, which is going to be in this vicinity, right on the edge of that tornado warning. So here's Cambria. That tornado warning, I need you in your safe place now. If you're really anywhere just south of Hillsdale, I want you to take that extra precaution, because just right up here, that is Hillsdale. So it's right there. So that tornado warning ends just on the southern edge of Hillsdale. So it has not been extended into Hillsdale at this point. So if you are now east of M49, this is an area that I need you to be in your safe place. Eventually, I'm going to be a little extra cautious about this one. If you're over toward Jefferson, anywhere along M99 from just outside of Ransom up to about Jefferson, even though you're just outside of the active tornado warning, I need you in your safe place. So meteorologist Matt Willoughby's hit right here where we suspect we may have some of that rotation occurring. That is now directly over Cambria, and it is going to be headed toward Jefferson just after 7 o'clock. Pittsford, that's somewhere between about 7:05 to 7:10. I'm going to give you that early heads up on where that's going to be headed. This may end up moving just east and just south of Hillsdale, where we have that rotation, because it's right in this area where we're actually seeing that active rotation right now. It's a very difficult spot, to be honest with you, to capture where we're getting a velocity scan or where we're getting Doppler radar to indicate rotation. Yeah, keep it right here, Matt. This is probably the best view we're going to get. And there's the rotation that we suspect. And again, those are elements within this storm that are going toward the radar, right over Cambria, and then away from the radar site, which is right here on the south side of town. So that circulation, it is now east of M49. So from Camden over toward Reading, I'm going to go ahead and say this tornado warning is not a threat for you anymore. It is now going to be shifting east, and it is directly right here over Cambria where we've got that rotation that is occurring. Wouldn't be surprised. I suspect that we're going to see an extension to this tornado warning. So what we're seeing on radar here with this velocity signature and where we've had that considerable risk, so to speak, a confirmed tornado that was on the ground by storm spotters. Very difficult to tell. Of course, this terrain up here gets a little bit hillier, a little bit rolling with the hills. With the rain that's coming down, it's getting a little bit closer to maybe dusk into the evening over the next hour. It may be very difficult to actually see the features with the terrain that begins to show up here in Hillsdale County, and what we're seeing, brand new velocity scan there, does indicate that we still have some broad rotation, now just shifting to the east. So again, next up, and I think we're going to know very soon here, I would suspect that we're going to see an extension to this tornado warning that's going to be crossing eventually. We've got M99 right here. So M99, if you're in the vicinity of Jefferson, I'm going to go ahead and say I want you to be cautious. I need you in your safe place at this point for the risk of this potentially still showing some rotation. And here's what we see too. Anytime we see these notches or these inflow areas, these are areas of concern. And there it is right in front of our very eyes. We've got that extension to the tornado warning, Matt. So let's head out, widen this out just a little bit as I suspected. I knew this was going to happen. We've got an extension to this tornado warning. So let's head over. Yep. And then give me the latest, because this is brand new information that's coming on the air right now. I suspect this will be to about 7:30. So, all right. So 7:30 is what we got this tornado warning in effect to. So, Matt, why don't you dive into what's happening on this right now, and give me the latest if anything is coming out of the National Weather Service office with as far as what they've confirmed with this being an actual tornado on the ground.
So that a new tornado warning that was just issued, of course, by at least Indiana. So still seeing for southeast Hillsdale County. So they just issued that severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado near Reading. So that's about 7 miles south of Hillsdale, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, and are expecting hazard of quarter-size hail with that new tornado warning just issued.
Yeah, I could see that, Matt. I could definitely see that as we kind of dive in some of the data here. Quarter-size hail, would it be the beast of a storm that one over northern Indiana is producing, which was baseball-sized hail? This is going to continue to move to the east, and it's moving fairly quickly. This isn't anything that you're going to be out to actually visibly see. That tornado warning, in effect, that will be allowed to expire for Camden. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you're going to be in the all clear, but that new extension to the tornado warning, that's in effect until 7:30 p.m., and that's going to include Jefferson if you're along M99. I'm going to go ahead and need you in your safe place, because that is something that we believe will still be a threat and perhaps even a considerable threat going forward with the fact that we're seeing not only that rotation, but indications that this is a tornado that could have been on the ground at one point or another. Difficult to tell, because just to be honest, it gets into some sparser radar coverage as it moves up across central parts of Hillsdale County. We're not able to see directly to a low level of the storm, but this is going to be moving through Jefferson and eventually entering over toward. This is going to be headed across Route 127 as well. So next up, this very well could be crossing from Hillsdale over into Lenawee County. That's going to get you up towards Devil's Lake. It's going to get you toward Onstead as well. So while you may not be in an active tornado warning, part of what we do as well is we warn you well in advance, because we want to put you at ease that if you're next and your number is going to be called, we want you to know exactly what you're going to do. So if you are in Lenawee County, I want you to be prepared and have that plan ready to go if we do see an extension to that tornado warning. But this is this particular area. We're going to get, here's what's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. All right, stand with me here. So this tornado warning that you see from Cambria toward Clear Lake, this is going to expire. So this will disappear coming up once the clock hits 7 o'clock right on the dot. So that will be allowed to expire. What we're going to be dealing with after that is going to be this continued tornado warning that is in effect until 7:30. And we will continue our coverage, because this is a storm that will continue to be producing, or has the capabilities of producing, not only the rotation, but a possible tornado. Hearing meteorologist Matt Willoughby has some additional information. Matt, what can you tell me?
Yeah, so we just got information that southernmost tornado warning out in Cambria, that one has just been expired. So that tornado one has been expired, but the one just in front of it still a active tornado warning as of right now. The train spotter just said reports of a 1-inch size hail.
Okay, that makes sense. Exactly what we're seeing on radar at this point. So, if you are in the vicinity, I think we're getting some of the highest winds probably right now, and the potential of that circulation that is now just east of Cambria. That is right south of Hillsdale. So we've got Cub Lake down in this area, just south and east of Cambria. I need you to be in your safe place as well. And again, we're just outside of maybe some of the better velocity signatures. We're just not going to get a real true sampling of what's going on. And part of the reason why the National Weather Service is saying we feel we need to continue this tornado warning because we just don't know exactly what's happening at the exact ground level. We've had spotters that have reported and indicated that this was at one time a confirmed tornado out here west of Clear Lake over toward Fremont, Indiana. That is something that is no longer a threat in that particular area. And as Matt said, we've had one tornado warning expire. That one now going to give you the all clear west of Cambria, as that is now something that is going to be shifting to the east. So there it is. As I said, right when the clock hits 7 p.m., we'd see that tornado warning drop off. So a focus right here for the next 30 minutes on this particular tornado warning. So anywhere from Ransom to Pittsford. Now this just cuts off on the southern and eastern side of Hillsdale. So you've got heavy rain. There's no doubt about that. It is raining on the southern edge of Hillsdale, but our area of concern is more down in this area right along. So here's M99 as well from about Ransom and it goes through Jefferson just west of Pittsford. So that's the area of concern. It's in this area. Mentioned Cub Lake is right about that location there, just south and east of Cambria. We're not going to get a strong velocity signature in that particular area. We just can't get low enough to the ground to see exactly what's occurring in that particular area. But we suspect, based on some of the reports we've had, we may continue to have some rotation in that particular area. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, any additional information? Brand new scan that just came in on that cell as it moves to the north and to the east.
Yeah, we're not seeing any more information, but we did see a video out in at least for NWS Northern Indiana. It does look like a confirmed tornado was on the ground. As you looking at that information, John?
Yeah, and we're also keeping an eye on some of those storms in northern Indiana with the hail potential. That's another big threat we've been watching, Matt. And there was actually a report of some baseball-sized hail near Kendallville, Indiana, and we are keeping you in advance of that storm because that one could potentially be tracking into Williams and even Defiance counties. These are what we call supercell thunderstorms. So one of the biggest risks with those is not only the rotation aspect, but also you do have some very large damaging hail. So that bright purple color that you see near Auburn, Indiana, that indicates some very, very large hail that we're keeping an eye on. And Matt did mention even up in Hillsdale County, that storm could produce 1-inch diameter hail, and that is in addition to the rotation and the tornado threat out of that. So we're also watching the large damaging hail. All of these severe thunderstorms you need to treat as if they're tornado warned, even if it's just that severe thunderstorm warning. But right now, folks in Hillsdale County absolutely need to be in those tornado shelters, whether it's your basement or that interior closet, watching a very close eye on not only the rotation, but also the large hail. And we've been looking for some updated data regarding the velocity. Earlier there was likely a tornado with this one. We are still seeing some rotation on velocity on the velocity scan. It's not necessarily the best data at this point due to the radar sites, but there is that rotation that is now moving to the north and northeast of Cambria. That is where the biggest rotation appears to be occurring right now. And we are looking also on those storms to the west. So the National Weather Service did update that storm in northern Indiana. It could have the potential for hail up to 3 inches in diameter. So that's certainly something we're keeping an eye on to the west of us. In addition to the active tornado warning, we are watching the severe thunderstorms that are bubbling up between Fort Wayne and Kendallville as how those could potentially be impacting our weather later on over the course of the evening, because those have a history of producing some large and damaging hail. And we can actually show you the hail tracks feature on Doppler radar as well. So you do see some hail up towards Hillsdale County, but it does appear that the one in northern Indiana, if that was to maintain its intensity, that could bring some large and damaging hail to Williams County or even Hillsdale County if that does maintain its track. Right now, it doesn't appear as if the Hillsdale County tornado warning cell has much of a hail threat, but of course the velocity scans have indicated some very strong rotation over the last 30 to 60 minutes or so. But any of these supercell thunderstorms can also bring some large and damaging hail in addition to that rotation aspect of the storm.
All right, John. Yeah, exactly right. Great analysis on what's going on there. We've got several of those storms that continue to pose at least the risk of not only a tornado, but I'll highlight again that one storm over northern Indiana that was producing baseball-sized hail. So let's take a look at this. We've got this tornado warning that is now in effect for Hillsdale County. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay on air through the duration of this because next up, this may be headed toward Lenawee County. So if you're from Cambria, right along M99, let's throw some times of arrival out there. This is going to be toward Hudson, Michigan, right around 7:14, and that takes you right up to about the edge of the Hillsdale-Lenawee County line. So once it crosses there, we could be into Lenawee County territory, which would include several other locations in Lenawee County, even up toward Onstead, over toward Devil's Lake area where we're getting some rain that is reported right now. Some of this rotation that we're seeing right now does not include Hillsdale itself. All right, so we are in Hillsdale County, but it is right now right along M99. And I would suspect that if you actually took where the highest rotation is, just north of Ransom, we've got Bird Lake right here that is a couple miles north of Ransom. So if that's a familiar area to you, right in between Ransom and Jefferson, that is just east of M99. Right here, we've got Bird Lake. That is where I suspect the rotation may very well be. That is crossing now. It is east of M99, and it is going to continue to work toward M34. So we've got M34 here that heads inbound toward Jefferson, M99. The rotation would appear to be this area just east of M99 that is right around Bird Lake. It's difficult to get a radar scan down closer to ground level, and as we all know, the terrain up toward Hillsdale County gets a little bit hillier, a little bit more robust as well. So it is possible that we're missing the lowest scan, so to speak, on what's actually occurring on the ground level. I can tell you this, though, we've got our full team coverage here. We've got meteorologist Matt Willoughby, meteorologist John Birchfield, and we've also got meteorologist Kaylee Bowers here standing by. And Kaylee, if I asked you to kind of paint the bigger picture on what's going on right now, kind of set the stage, because we knew the atmosphere. It was primed and juiced and ready. Where are some other areas of concern that you're watching?
Yeah, Chris, that's exactly right. We are tracking that single tornado warning in southeastern Michigan right now. This is the entire system we're watching. Like John mentioned, these storms really starting to fire up and moving into our area right now, but we are seeing a few thunderstorm warnings in parts of Indiana. We're also watching this tornado warning right now in Hillsdale County. If you're in Ohio right now, you're fine for now, but like we've been talking about, eventually they could be moving into parts of Williams County, over towards Wauseon, Defiance County, and this is just the beginning as these strong storms will continue to fire up and bring large hail like we've been talking about, strong winds, and that chance for a tornado as well. But let's go back and look at this tornado warning in Hillsdale County and show you exactly what we're looking at. This is in effect until 7:30 this evening. So we are tracking this tornado warning again in Hillsdale County till 7:30. As we're seeing the potential for hail 1 inch in diameter, if not even greater. So get to your safe space if you are in Hillsdale County, but also let's take a look at the track because like we mentioned, it could be moving to Lenawee County within the next several minutes, if not even sooner. So looking at this track, again, it's moving around 30 miles an hour. So as far as the timing of this goes, if you're over towards the Hillsdale County area, you need to be in your safe space now. But like we have been watching, if you're over towards Hudson, 7:09. So in 2 minutes, this storm will be on top of you. Rollins, 7:13, Woodstock at 7:25. Now, even though this warning is set to expire at 7:30, the storms could be still a little bit more on the stronger side. So Rome around 7:28, Cambridge at 7:37, Adrian at 7:42. And if you're over towards Franklin, 7:44. But again, this is for parts of southeastern Michigan. If you're in Ohio, we're not tracking these strong showers and thunderstorms yet, not tracking any active watches or warnings, I should say active warnings. We are under a tornado watch. In fact, we could pull up that tornado watch, kind of reset here. We're not going anywhere. We have team coverage all across the area. Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers, Meteorologist John Birchfield, and Meteorologist Matt Willoughby. So here's that tornado watch. This is in effect till 11 o'clock this evening, so we still have about 4 more hours with these strong storms moving through from Lucas County, Wood County, over towards Seneca County, Wyandotte County, pretty much everyone in our area under that tornado watch for this evening, again, till 11 o'clock tonight. Team coverage, in fact, we're talking more strong storms. Let's check in with Matt and John. Guys, what are you seeing over in the Weather Center?
So there's no new information regarding Hillsdale County, but it is becoming a little more increasingly concerning what we're seeing to the west of us. The National Weather Service did point out that some of those thunderstorm cells near Fort Wayne are exhibiting a bit of rotation. And of course, with that eastward movement, it is possible that those slide into our neck of the woods, and that may include Paulding and Defiance counties as well. Also becoming a little bit concerned regarding that large hail-producing supercell thunderstorm. You'll notice that severe thunderstorm warning did get expanded, and it is now just glancing the Ohio-Indiana state line right there, including the city of Angola. And if that does maintain its intensity, it could bring a 1-2 punch type situation to Hillsdale County. You'll notice it's going in a very similar path of motion to the other thunderstorm cell. We've gotten some reports of 1.75-inch diameter hail, and I do want to show you the latest hail tracks. We are still noticing some very, very large hail, and radar indications. Here's what we are seeing right now. Hail that is likely bigger than a golf ball, possibly even approaching baseball-sized hail. And if that does continue, it would likely extend into Hillsdale County and possibly even portions of Williams County as well. I mentioned that rotation in Allen County, Indiana. The National Weather Service did just warn that one, so the concern was warranted. There's now a tornado warning in the southeastern quadrant of the Fort Wayne metro, and we're keeping an eye on how that could potentially impact our area. Right now, it is just Hillsdale County, the only county in southern Michigan and northwest Ohio in our vicinity that is under an active tornado warning right now. And as Kaylee pointed out, that one continues until 7:30 p.m. It's 7:10 right now, and we'll continue to keep you updated as that threat evolves. And we're watching it possibly even cross into Lenawee County. Right now, Lenawee County, you're in that position where you're looking off to the west on radar. Perhaps you have evening plans that you were originally going to do. Now is the time to get indoors and prepare to make that emergency plan in case that warning is extended into your county, because we want to keep you ahead of the storm. And for folks in Lenawee County, this is a storm where you're going to want to be on high alert. Also, if you're looking to the west at some of those northern Indiana supercells, perhaps you live in northwestern Williams County, maybe Montpelier or Pioneer. Those areas also want to be on high alert because there is a very large hailstorm that is just to the west of you. So you want to anticipate, what if that storm does maintain its intensity? We'll want to keep you ahead of the storm. And then regarding that Fort Wayne tornado warning, that one could potentially impact Paulding and even Defiance County. Now, it is moving fairly quickly. There's no active warnings for Defiance and Paulding, but we are keeping a very close eye on that one as well. And we're also looking for updated storm reports from the National Weather Service. Lots and lots of hail reports have been coming in. I'm going to see if these are actually pulling into our system just yet, but we are getting
golf ball size hail very recently out there toward Kendallville. So that was a report of golf ball size hail in addition to the report of baseball size hail that we had before. So John, great coverage on that, great analysis. I'll make a clear point about this here. So if you're here in the Toledo Metro or east of I-75, I get it. We've got the sunshine actually peeking through the clouds. But what we do when we've got an active tornado warning and one that was confirmed to be on the ground, it is going to be our obligation. We are going to cover it through its duration. And I understand it could be an inconvenience to some of your regular programming, but this is a courtesy that we will do for you as well when storms arrive into your area. And a lot of people, they have unease about storms in general. We're here to let you know where the storms are, where they're going next, and what the threats are. So the active tornado warning, let me get you the latest on this. This is now from about Pittsford. It is not including Hillsdale. Here is Hudson Road, maybe perhaps more familiar, M30, that comes right into Hudson, Michigan. So here's Hudson, Michigan, right at the end of my fingertip. Now, if you're in Hudson, Michigan, you're right at the edge of that tornado warning. I suspect if we still have a circulation, it's somewhere right here between Pittsford and Hudson. So right along Hudson Road or M34, I need you to be in your safe place. You're going to be all clear in Jefferson. You're going to be all clear over toward Ransom. In fact, we've just seen that tornado warning and now off the map. So it's been allowed to expire early. We're going to kind of do a wider perspective on this. That is good news. If we had any circulation, it was in this area and it is somewhat diminished and weakening. But before we kind of say, all right, let's take a step back and see where we are at this point. We've got several storms that will at least have our attention. As John mentioned, this is a beast of a storm. That is producing, I'll be honest, gorilla-sized hail. It is enormous hail that is showing up in northern Indiana that could do some extensive damage. In addition to that, 60-mile-per-hour winds that is now just west west of the Indiana state line. This is going to continue to track. It's going to hit over toward Angola, Indiana again, and it's going to continue in its northeast track. May get northern parts of Williams County up there toward Holiday City, Pioneer, Montpelier, back over toward the state line. Edgerton, you're likely in the clear. Eden, a very close call, as that is a very noisy, very dangerous storm that is just west of you. No active warning or alert here in Williams County, but that is something that could very well be next as this tracks to the east. Now moving at 40 miles per hour, so it's picked up a little bit of forward speed. And I suspect we are not done with these storms yet. They may show some tendencies to begin to rotate over the next few moments as they compete for more space in the atmosphere. But here's that storm that continues to move to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And that is going to be headed over into, it will catch you in Williams County, and it may produce some extremely large hailstones. We've had reports of baseball-sized hail that have been reported with that storm. Now, no active tornado warnings up there in southern Michigan, so that is a bit of good news. We have seen the last of those tornado warnings expire, but the entire area is under a tornado watch. So we have a tornado watch that is in effect until 11 o'clock tonight, and as we get continued reports that come in, we will continue to pass those along. Now, you've got to check in with meteorologist Kaylee Bowers. As we've mentioned, we've had confirmed reports of tornadoes. Question is, we're hopeful that we aren't going to get widespread reports of damage. But, Kaylee, what are we seeing with what has happened very recently?
Yeah, Chris, that's the hope, that we don't get many reports. Not the case that we're seeing right now. This viewer photo just sent in just a moment ago. This is the FedEx building over in Portage, Michigan. You can see right there. I mean, the building pretty much destroyed at the moment. We're seeing the roof blown off, the sides of the building blown off, the trucks completely mangled. Again, this was over on social media, and you guys have been very helpful sending in photos and videos. Keep sending them in safely. Your safety is more important than getting that picture or that photo. But again, thank you for everyone for sending in those pictures and those videos. We're going to keep updating you both on air and online. But this is what we're seeing right now in Portage, Michigan. That was the FedEx building. But like Chris mentioned, we are not seeing any active warnings at the moment. Well, I should say we are still seeing some active warnings, but things are slowly calming down, but we're also tracking that tornado watch as well. Chris, what's the latest on radar right now?
So Portage, Michigan, Kaylee, that is just outside of Kalamazoo, Michigan. That was a storm earlier the evening that was under a considerable threat of a tornado risk. And at one point, there was a tornado emergency that was issued for that particular area. And here's some of the video, really some incredible video that came in. This was just outside of Kalamazoo. Much like we've been saying, these storms have the tendency to begin to rotate. So some of the storm spotters that have been confirming where we've had tornadoes on the ground at this point this evening was able to confirm it. And there it is. Look at that. This was earlier this evening, perhaps initially a multi-vortex tornado that is consolidated. Look at that. That is some incredible video of what was a fairly strong tornado that did some significant damage. And again, that was just outside of Kalamazoo, Michigan. The reason why, folks, we are on air tonight as our area is under a tornado watch. Now, good news in that respect is the tornado warning just expired. It was supposed to go to about 7:30. That has been allowed to expire, but there's a couple storms that still have our concern, and we're going to stay with you a bit longer before we send you back to regularly scheduled program. And we've got two storms. I'm going to take you down here, Fort Wayne toward 469. This is an area that has a fairly strong signature and an indication that there is rotation now within that. Lots of lightning, but also the shape of this on the southeastern side of Fort Wayne. We've got 469. All right, I want to see what's right here. So, yep, that's my concern right there. So, we've got. So this is Route 1. This is Route 27. This is an area. Again, this is not our direct viewing area, but I will be honest with you. This appears to be very strong indications of rotation that is going to be headed on the southeast side of Fort Wayne. That is going to be moving eventually toward our area. So we'll watch this very close as we've got strong circulation that is occurring. I don't really care for the shape of this as well, because it would indicate that we've got a little bit of a hook on the back end of this that could be hooking in and storm inflow coming into this storm. So let's widen the picture back out, because I want to see how close we are from eventually this tracking. Right here's where I want to be, over toward Antwerp as we head into the Ohio and Indiana border. We've got Paulding County pulled up right here. So you would be next up in in Paulding County, anywhere from Antwerp along Route 24 south to about Blue Creek, right along 127. Not an active tornado warning at this point right now, but if we would just extrapolate that forward, we'd be looking at about 743, that making its way into our direct area and potentially doing what we suspect could do with that particular cell, as we are seeing some strong rotation, could be the potential of a tornado or a stronger tornado that would be on the ground at this point. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, what can you say with the latest on what's going on from your view?
Yeah, so with this specific tornado warning, we're seeing those details that we have is, of course, at least at 7:08, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located and is moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So impacts include, flying debris that likely will be dangerous, of course. So that's pretty much all the information we have as
Matt,
of right now.
there was also a storm spotter report in the Fort Wayne DMA. What they reported is a rotating wall cloud. So essentially that is a precursor to a tornado. But one of the things they noticed, Matt, is that it was wrapped in rain and it was hard to visibly deduce because of the heavy rain that's occurring with this. So a trained spotter did record that there is a lowering rotating wall cloud, and often what comes out of that is a funnel cloud and eventually a tornado. And that's not at all surprising based on the velocity scan that Chris just analyzed. We saw those two contrasting colors right next to each other, and that showed the rotational velocity or the spinning in the atmosphere. And a rotating wall cloud is never a good sign. With how the atmosphere is primed for this, it is very likely that this storm could drop a tornado. It does appear the National Weather Service has continued that tornado warning. Radar indicated rotation as of now, so nothing has been confirmed, but there's some strong rotation on radar. Now we're also keeping an eye on that other supercell thunderstorm that is now just right up against the Indiana-Ohio state line, and we are keeping an eye on the hail potential with that one because that seemed to be the biggest risk with this. If there's any bit of good news out of that, it's that the hail signature doesn't appear to be quite as potent as it was earlier. You'll notice some of those bright yellows and greens that we were noticing on Doppler radar. That was to the north of Auburn, Indiana. That's indicative of hail that could be up to the size of a baseball. Now that's what it looked like about 20 to 30 minutes ago. Here is what the latest hail signature is showing. That still does depict some large hail on Doppler radar, but we can actually use the query tool to give you an idea of how large that hail is. Right now it does appear that it's less than 1 inch in diameter. However, the track on this storm could still impact Hillsdale County within the next 30 to 60 minutes. I'm going to actually get the data on how fast this one is moving because that is important for folks in Hillsdale County who could potentially be impacted by this. So the National Weather Service says that this one could have the potential still to produce some very, very large hail, and it's moving to the northeast. So it would eventually be in the direction of Hillsdale County if it did maintain its intensity, and could potentially arrive into far southeastern Michigan. So I do want to put a storm track on that one to give you an idea of when that one could potentially end up in southern Michigan if it were to maintain its intensity and bring some large hail as well. So the strongest of the supercell thunderstorm and the hail could potentially arrive in portions of Hillsdale County between about 7:40 to 7:50. So within the next 20 to 30 minutes, that is when that one could arrive in Hillsdale County. As we look at the broader view, no active warnings in effect for Northwest Ohio as of now, but some of those very potent thunderstorms also knocking on our doorstep. For folks who live in Lenawee County, this is still a very strong, impactful thunderstorm. We're seeing some strong and gusty winds out of this moving into Lenawee County. Even Morenci could be seeing some lightning and thunder, as well as some heavy rain out of that. But folks in Williams and Hillsdale County still need to be on high alert with that powerful thunderstorm near Angola that is pushing towards the Ohio, Indiana, Michigan tri-state area. It does appear that the biggest of the hail is located right along Route 20, pushing towards that tri-state. And folks up in Camden who saw that tornado warning earlier, this storm cell could potentially impact you regardless. Oftentimes during thunderstorm setups, we talk about how one round of storms or one round of rain can sort of mute or muddy the atmosphere for another one. But this is a very unique setup in the sense that there's so much turning or so much wind shear in the atmosphere that even though we saw those early afternoon thunderstorms, even though we saw severe thunderstorms roll through just a bit ago, the atmosphere is able to rebound very quickly in spite of the rain that occurred previous to that, simply due to the amount of shear and the amount of turning that was in the atmosphere. And to confirm that large hail that we were talking about, Matt and I were indicating the large hail potential. An emergency manager in Steuben County, Indiana, reported 3-inch diameter hail. 3 inches. That is actually confirmed. And I'm going to see if I can pop up the storm reports to see if it does appear in our system. But you can see these storms have a history of producing very large damaging hail, in addition to a likely tornado that was reported by emergency managers. So some large hail, certainly, Chris.
Yep.
And we're keeping an eye on how that one could impact Williams and Hillsdale County if it maintains itself.
You know, John, it's been very interesting how this has unfolded so far tonight. In a great analysis with that large hail and what that continued threat could be for that storm cell that is headed to the north and to the east and may impact parts of Williams and Hillsdale County. I'll take you for a few areas right now because if you are up there toward Lenawee County, if you've been following our coverage about 15 minutes ago, I said, hey, I want you to be prepared if you need to take action at this point right now. We can tell you that Lenawee County is under no alert, no active alert right now. These storm cells right here capable of producing about 40-mile-per-hour winds, but nothing that they were doing the magnitude before as storms were rolling through parts of lower Michigan. In fact, just a bit ago, we had this video from Union City that came in. This was from Buzz Griffith. Indications of, that looks to be in a tornado that was in contact with the ground. This was from Union City across parts of southwestern Michigan. So these storms have not only been rotating, but have had confirmed tornadoes at this point. It appears to be several that have been across southern Michigan. All right, back over here toward Doppler radar, just giving you an example of why we've been on air. So you are not actively experiencing any severe weather, although a flash of lightning, good rumble of thunder toward Tecumseh that just came through. But here is one thing. I want to focus on this for a moment as well, because my concern is that we're still in the early stages of this overall severe weather threat, which we expect may go through about 10 p.m. or later tonight. So here's what we've got. And in a moment, I'm going to bring in meteorologist John Birchfield as well. John, you're familiar territory here. You used to work a couple years over in the Fort Wayne area. But what we're seeing on radar here, this is just south and east. So Fort Wayne's right there. There's Adams. There's Monroeville. We've got a notch that's showing up right here that's east of 469. And this notch, that coincides with really strong inflow into this storm, and that's where the rotation is. That's where we're getting a twisting updraft. And look at that, right at the end of my finger. That is air that is rushing into the thunderstorm and being sucked up and consumed by that thunderstorm, and then air that is on the backside of it rotating around. We could call that rear flank downdraft as well in the midst of this mesocyclone, which is that rotation that is occurring right here. The reason we're covering this right now is because there's Route 24. And if you've ever made that trip, a pretty easy drive down 24 over toward Fort Wayne. This is going to be headed toward Paulding County. And here's State Route 49. And just up here, if we could go up just a little bit, there's Antwerp. And this is an area that's very common. If you've traveled this, you know they have the wind farms out there, the windmills, the large wind turbines. That's an area that has a lot of those wind turbines in this particular area. And we suspect that we may have something to contend with here that is crossing out of or getting ready to. Here it is. This is the Ohio state line right here. So Indiana right there, Ohio right here, and this is getting ready to, within the next 5 minutes, it's going to cross into Ohio. So we want to stay with this. New information just in as well. We've had an extension, I believe, John, to that severe thunderstorm warning just north of here that now may include parts of Williams and Hillsdale County. So if we can navigate up there, let's see what we've got here. Yep, so this is that storm that was producing, I called it gorilla-sized hail. It was 3 inches in diameter. Realistically, that's baseball-sized hail. Most recently, it's been reported as golf ball-sized hail. Here's what we have going on here. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning, and you may be thinking, all right, well, I've experienced a severe thunderstorm warning before. What's different about this one, it is identified differently. It has a threat known as destructive on it. So that is for very large hail and strong damaging winds. So we've got a clear indication that this threat, which is why we've stayed with you tonight, and I'll be very clear about that. If this storm isn't impacting you directly, maybe you know somebody up there in Hillsdale County and you know somebody in Williams County. This is a fairly new threat as well for Williams County. Let's get a little closer. It's north of Eden, north and west of Montpelier, and west of Pioneer. I suspect right around Holiday City is going to be on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. But let's get right into northern parts of Williams County, southern parts of Hillsdale County. Here is the Ohio Turnpike. So your toll plazas right there at State Route 49. So you've seen those, the familiar toll plazas right there. that hail core is going to be right here. And John or Matt, if we can go ahead, and I suspect we're going to get that hail core feature right there. So there it is. All right, so here's the Ohio Turnpike as it turns over toward the Indiana Toll Road. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some massive hail reports crossing the Indiana Toll Road there. There's I-80, so just across into Indiana. That is indications of some larger hail. Latest reports were about ping pong to golf ball sized hail. Where this is going next, and I know we've said it a lot, here's M49. So right there's the state line from Williams County up at Hillsdale County. There's Camden again. Camden, I've told you already once to take shelter due to the potential impacts from a tornado. I'm telling you now in Camden, I want you to seek shelter for very large hail that may be headed towards your area. It could be an inch to an inch and a half in diameter. That extremely large hail is now just crossing the Indiana state line, getting ready to move into Hillsdale County. It is just west of M49. It's this area. I suspect here in Williams County, unless you're just north of the Ohio Turnpike, west of Route 49, State Route 49, it's really just going to be that sliver right there of Williams County that I think you're going to get the worst of it. There's a ton of lightning associated with this as it stripes across southern parts of Hillsdale County. That lightning, we go ahead and remove that feature because I want people to be able to see right there about 20 lightning strikes that have just occurred in the past 10 minutes right in that specific area. But I suspect we've got a hail core. If we have a moment, too, if we could take a slice through this, if we could take a slice, I want to go right across here, and let's take a slice through, and let's see what type of storm we're dealing with up in the atmosphere. All right, let's get a little bit closer. So if you joined us on WTOL 11 during 5 and 6 o'clock, these were the same exact tools that we used to highlight or to investigate, like a doctor would take an X-ray straight through a storm. We could do that as meteorologists as well. And what we're seeing right here, so this is the hail core that is still aloft in the atmosphere. And if we look at the height of that hail core, I'm going to estimate right here it's about 30,000 feet up into the atmosphere. So that hail core may be falling from that storm right now, making its way to southern Hillsdale County from about 30,000 feet. So imagine golf balls falling from 30,000 feet. That could do some damage and destruction. So the reason why we've got that destructive tag on that severe thunderstorm warning is due to the fact it is producing potentially very large hail with that. Matt, do we have some additional severe thunderstorm warnings? I want to make sure that we've got the full picture on that.
So we do still have those thunderstorm warnings out as we go throughout this evening. John, do we have any new information from the National Weather Service right now?
So we're getting a lot of large hail reports out of northern Indiana out of this. I'm going to superimpose some of the reports coming from this. We've gotten up to 3-inch diameter hail, and the National Weather Service, I want to be very clear, has said to treat this as if it is a tornado warning. This is a type of cell you want to get to your interior room, preferably the basement, because this destructive hail can do just as much damage as any thunderstorm. This one will have the potential to drop 1 to 2-inch diameter hail, and that analogy Chris made is on point, with just going to show the gravity of this situation, how you need to get away from windows to the most inner and lower point of your home, because windows are very susceptible to being broken by these large damaging hailstones. So this one's moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. I want to show you where we stand on Doppler radar right now, really zooming in on the brunt of that storm cell moving into Hillsdale County. And I do want to put a storm track on this with that 45-mile-per-hour motion to the northeast where that storm is headed. So Hillsdale, you can plan on this one rolling into Ransom at 7:38, so in just about 7 minutes time. Hillsdale 7:41, rolling at 7:58 if it did maintain its intensity near Lenawee County. And these storm reports are no joke. You know, we're getting a number of reports of golf ball up to baseball-sized hail as a result of that. And as Chris pointed out, we're also keeping a very close eye on that thunderstorm in the southeastern quadrant of Fort Wayne that was exhibiting some alarming rotation earlier, and we're keeping an eye on that one and its potential impacts to northwest Ohio. I do want to get the latest velocity scan. You know, still on the southeast side of Fort Wayne, near the US 30 corridor, we are still seeing a very concerning Doppler signature. That's to the north of Monroeville, Indiana, those blue and red colors. That's something we're going to keep a very close eye on, even though it's not impacting our immediate vicinity right now. The main concern is going to be up towards Hillsdale County, and we've got an eye on the hail track as well does appear that the largest of the hail right along the tri-state area near Clear Lake, right along Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, that border right there. And based on some of the reports that we are getting, this one could potentially drop golf ball, if not larger size hail, with that 45-mile-per-hour northeast motion. I put a track on it earlier, but this time around, I'm going to put a storm track on the hail signature to let you know exactly where that is headed. 45 miles per hour, that is how quickly this storm is moving. So it's booking it a little bit compared to the earlier storm cells. You can pick out your town on the map there as this hail core or this heavy severe thunderstorm continues its northeastern trajectory. Treat this one like it is a tornado warning. Get to that interior room, preferably the basement, because hailstones of this size can be destructive, and that is exactly the tag that the NWS has given this, a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, and that goes until 8:15 p.m. Our current time is 7:33 p.m., and this one's moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Not getting any reports from Hillsdale County just yet, but there are still a number of very, very large hail reports coming in from northern Indiana, and it's very likely that because of the history of this storm cell, it is going to continue producing hail. Now, folks in Lenawee County, we told you to be on high alert earlier. I would advocate for the same thing right now because this storm is knocking on your doorstep. In addition, there is some very, very heavy rain that is located just to the west of Adrian, even into parts of northwestern Fulton County and Williams County. We're keeping a very close eye on those thunderstorms as well. And that tornado warned cell that is in Allen County, Indiana, we're keeping a close eye on that one as it crosses over the Indiana-Ohio state line and on the possible impacts. It looks like the southern periphery of this storm system, it isn't producing quite as many severe thunderstorms just yet, but one of the things you'll notice about the structure of this is that each one of these individual storm cells is rather discrete in nature. You know, it's not necessarily a straight line. These are what we call supercell thunderstorms, and each one of those storm cells that I've outlined there, each one of them is exhibiting some broad rotation and could potentially have a tornado impact. So this entire system really represents just how primed the atmosphere is for severe weather right now. Still not seeing any additional hail reports, but the National Weather Service is at least continuing for the Fort Wayne area that tornado warning. Hopefully the hail core does die down a little bit, but I am still seeing some concerning signs regarding that hail that is now pushing into Hillsdale County.
Yeah, John, a couple things on that, and we're going to recap what we have right now. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Hillsdale County that has what we've deemed a destructive tendency to it, which means that destructive threat indicates very large hail that's associated with this, and it may be wind-driven hail. So imagine those hailstones being pelted out of a thunderstorm cloud at 60 to 70 miles per hour. That is a distinct possibility. That's a rare feature that we get what is known as a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, or at least the potential for that. These storms have not only been producing large hail, but also been producing tornadoes. I want to give you some video. This was just earlier this afternoon over toward Portage. This was a FedEx Center. Meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, she showed us the pictures of this. This is just south of Kalamazoo, and at the time there was a confirmed tornado on the ground. It looks like a FedEx distribution center of some sort that was hit directly by that tornado. Trees that were toppled over as what could have been a fairly significant tornado went across southern Michigan. Now, we don't have any active tornado warnings in our area. We're very hopeful that, crews get out there and they're able to assess the damage, and at this point we're just very hopeful there were not any injuries or worse associated with that. That was from Portage, Michigan, just outside of Kalamazoo. We'll take you back over here to radar where we've got some storms. Now, if you're here in the Toledo Metro, Bowling Green down toward Findlay, you're thinking, all right, what storms? Why are we continuing to cover this? We want to take a look, and we're showing you as well downtown Toledo. The skies may look a little ominous, but we don't have any active severe weather right now here in the Toledo Metro. But rest assured, if we get storms that would be producing some significant risk that would allow us or facilitate us to be on air, and one of them being this storm in Hillsdale County with a destructive tag, we will be here for you as well. So we understand things are quiet right now. We can be thankful for that here in the Toledo Metro, but there's two areas we're watching. And I'm going to head up to this one first. Let's get it closer into Hillsdale County. It would appear to me, so we're going to do a couple things here. I want to interrogate this just a little bit. We'll get a little bit closer because I'm guessing we've got M40. So once we get, right there. So we've got M40. And this was an area right around 6:30 we started covering for an active tornado warning. So I've already told you to take shelter once due to a tornado. It is not a tornado at this point, but very large hail that is likely rolling through Hillsdale County right toward Cambridge Cambria, and now along and east of M40. This is clearly something that is now out of the threat of Williams County. So if you are in Williams County, I highlighted that very small corner of Williams County from the Ohio Turnpike and State Route 40. You are clear of that. That threat now is all the way up into Hillsdale County. We are getting an update on this severe thunderstorm. Why don't we go ahead and why don't we just tap this severe thunderstorm warning and just see what the latest data is on that to see if any new information is coming in. So what they've done is we've moved that threat from destructive to now what we would call considerable. So that's a threshold down. So it means that we may have dropped a portion of this hail core at some point, which means it came down. It was aloft in that cloud. And once that hail growth happens, it's got to go somewhere. So we're still getting the potential of some larger hail here in southern parts of Hillsdale County, but it is considerable a risk at this point. Second place I want to stop, let's head over toward that tornado warning. It was just west of Paulding County. I want to make sure that there's nothing incredibly concerning. This is what I figured I would see once we got over here. That tornado warning has been extended now. That does include Paulding County. So I know we have viewers that are out there in Paulding County that watch, some of our WTOL 11 programming. Here it is from 127 and west. It does not include the city of Paulding itself, and it stays just south of Route 24. That does include Allen and Paulding County. That is, I believe, Allen County over in Indiana, not in Ohio. And Paulding County, that is 127 there, clips it just outside of Blue Creek. But this is the area that I'm suspecting we're seeing that rotation that's occurring right now that is right over the state line. So it is occurring from Monroeville. It's this area we're seeing the rotation. So here's Route 30 that crosses the state line. So the state line is right here. So if you travel this and you know Route 30 right here, that is 613, State Route 613. We've got the rotation here. That is winds that are going toward the radar site and winds that are coming away from the radar site. So we've got some clear rotation. I did suspect that they would extend this tornado warning, and it's going to be moving. Here's State Route 49. There's Payne, Ohio. Here's State Route 114, where Blue Creek is. Here is Laddie and 127. And just north of here, I mentioned it before, this is a very large area that has a lot of those wind farms out there in Paulding County. As this continues to move to the north and to the east, let's get that velocity. I think it's about 30 to 35, even up to 40 miles per hour. This is going to be headed into Paulding, perhaps within the hour by 7:59. That is going to be headed into Paulding. Do we have any reports? We've got Matt, John, Kaylee all here. Do we have any reports or any confirmation that we've seen a tornado on the ground with this particular cell at this point, boys?
Yeah, Chris, so I do have a couple updates. So there was a trained storm spotter in the Fort Wayne vicinity on the southeast side of town that reported rotation, but they specified that it was not touching the ground as of now. So right now, this is what we call a radar indicated tornado warning. The velocity scan is concerning. However, nothing has been confirmed. I also have an update coming in from Hillsdale County. There were some students, some Toledo Public School students from Elmhurst Elementary who were up at Camp Machindo. And some good news is they are safe from these thunderstorms and not impacted by the tornado warning earlier and now the severe thunderstorm. So very thankful that those Elmhurst Elementary students are safe there. If you have family or friends who know one of those students up at the camp, very grateful for that, but Hillsdale County still needs to be on high alert as this severe thunderstorm is moving on through. And then regarding that tornado warning that is now pushed into Paulding, Ohio, again, just a radar indication right now, but still noticing some concerning velocity signatures on that one. I do want to show you the latest on where that rotation is occurring. Right now, it does appear the rotation is right about on the state line, directly on top of the state line between Monroeville and Payne. And where you see those blue and those red colors meeting, that indicates where there is some spinning in the atmosphere, and that was corroborated by a storm spotter that did see some rotation within the clouds, but that storm spotter noted that it wasn't actually touching the ground, and that was at 7:34 p.m. on the southeast side of Fort Wayne. So not seeing anything that would justify a confirmed tornado as of now, but we're still keeping a very close eye on that one. And of course, the cell up in Hillsdale has a history of producing some very large, damaging hail. What's the latest on the hail signature? It does appear that the the strongest of the cell and the biggest of the hail is now moving into Hillsdale County, and we are seeing that just to the north of Camden, right on top of M49, where that large hail is moving on through. And the trajectory of this cell still going to the northeast at approximately 45 miles per hour. So I'm going to put the storm cone on that one to give you an idea of when that one is going to arrive. Still continuing to keep an update on a number of storm cells that are developing off to the west of us. Additionally, I do have an update on the rainfall potential with these. So we do have a bulletin on the flooding potential with some of these supercell thunderstorms. You'll notice those bright red colors. Those indicate some very heavy torrential rain. So even if you get a thunderstorm or a downpour that is not severe, due to how saturated the ground is, there have been some indications that there will be flooding potential with these thunderstorms and the possibility for a quick 1, 2, even up to 3 inches of rainfall with some of these thunderstorms. Certainly not good news for those folks that have already been inundated with rainfall. And just really one more weather concern to add on top of the list tonight is that flooding potential. But we're also keeping a close eye on Paulding County and what's going on there. And very thankful, Chris, that those elementary students up in Hillsdale County are safe from the thunderstorms as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Been up to Mishindo myself before. It's a beautiful part of the state, and it is good to know that we are safe at this point up there from both the tornado warning that occurred earlier today, but also the larger hail. So we've got viewers that are across about 20 counties here in Northwest Ohio and southern Michigan. So let's set the wider perspective on what we're looking at right now, because we've got our entire area essentially under a tornado watch at this point. A couple of storms that are an area of concern, and they're just on the fringe of our viewing area over toward Paulding County. So that is one storm that is now activated with a tornado warning. We've been highlighting that for the past 15 to 30 minutes. We've got another storm that had a destructive signature to it that went down to down a level to considerable due to the fact that it was likely producing extremely large hail at the time. And there's also a few tornado warnings that are still up there toward I-69 and I-94 that is just north of Coldwater, Michigan. So there's a whole host of areas that we're keeping a close eye on. No active severe weather here in the Toledo Metro. You have no active severe weather right now in Bowling Green or Findlay. So we appreciate your patience on this. If storms were threatening your area, we would have the same obligation to make sure that we were keeping you safe as well. We've done so several times so far this season. Now we do have a storm that is working through Hillsdale County that is still potentially producing some very large hail. That storm in itself is now just south of Hillsdale. So we've got one severe thunderstorm warning that is here in Hillsdale County. It is all clear in Camden. I expect you're going to escape the worst of it as well toward Ransom. If you're down the state line over toward Pioneer, you're just fine. This is going to be moving toward Pittsford. It's going to be crossing M34, which takes you right out of Hudson over toward Hudson, Michigan, which is right about this area here. A good cluster of lightning. This is still a considerable threat for very large hail. And another storm that we're watching, this is just south and west of Defiance. So here we are in Defiance. There's Route 24 coming out of Defiance. So that is Defiance County right there. Ayersville would be there. There's Continental in Putnam County. There's Paulding just south of 24 on 127. And here's a tornado warning with a pretty defined hook signature that is showing up, that is crossing now out of Indiana and into Paulding County. Where there is an active tornado warning. Now, I'll widen the perspective out, because if you see your county here, you are in yellow, you are a county that is under the tornado watch until 11 o'clock tonight. So when these storms continue to make their way across the area, because we're not done yet, they're arriving to the west and they're going to continue their trek to the east. So we're not all clear here in the Toledo Metro and down through Bowling Green or Findlay, and may even still be seeing some of those storms that will develop east of I-75 as we go after dark tonight. So keep in mind, we may be here for the long haul tonight until we give you the all clear with these particular storms. But this is the concern that we do have. That's a pretty clear hook that's showing up. I've got a velocity signature, a brand new scan that just came in as well, showing that we've got a little notch, or at least a noteworthy notch that is just south and west of Payne, that is still outside of Paulding, which is right there in Paulding County. And if we could see a velocity signature, do we have any velocity signature? Last I checked, we were still indicating we've got some rotation, and there it is. There's your rotation. Here's Route 30. We've got areas areas of winds that are going toward the radar and areas that are coming away, and perhaps even some rear flank downdraft, which is gusty winds coming out of the southern edge of this storm. As it moves to the north and to the east, it continues its trek to the north and to the east. It's going to be headed toward Paulding. We've pinned that pretty close to the 8 o'clock hour, and if it would continue, it would be headed in toward Defiance County shortly after 8:15 and somewhere around 8:21. If this was to continue in that northeasterly direction, again, that's going to put you right out in that area. We're going to continue to monitor that. This has been a longer-lived supercell that has continued to sort of cycle through back and forth, which has shown indication that that rotation may be somewhat long-lived as we go through maybe the next perhaps hour or so with this storm. So again, tornado warning down there in Paulding County. Large hail still a concern up toward Hillsdale County, and nearly every county in northwest Ohio under an active tornado watch at this point, which means conditions still may be favorable for storms that would rotate as we go through the evening. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby here as well. We've got meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, which is also monitoring some storm reports and damage. Matt, what can you tell me about this storm, the latest motion on this, and where this is going to be headed?
On this storm is around 30 miles per hour, so it's moving right around 30 miles per hour currently right now. So still seeing that at least move pretty decently out there. So still seeing, also got some reports in Wabash County in Indiana of reports of a roof off of a house and some trees down as well. So just about inch-size hail with this system. So we're still seeing at least that happen for us, or that tornado warning still active as of right now. So that's pretty much approaching Paulding area. Not necessarily Paulding, you're not necessarily within this tornado warning, but still Payne all the way up into Defiance. This system, even if they don't continue that tornado warning, is still heading towards you. It's still a dangerous system that we are seeing. Of course, we also have meteorologist Kaylee Bowers showing us some damage from Portage, Michigan. Right, Kaylee?
Yeah, Matt, that's exactly right. Looking at a couple photos that we have sent in from you guys have been amazing. Keep sending in your viewer photos and videos safely. Again, like Matt said, these are out of Portage, Michigan, so technically not our viewing area, but these storms that brought devastating storms over there, moving into our area right now. So first thing I want you to see, we have down trees, we have down power lines. Looks like there's an accident right there. Crews are doing best that they can to clear the roads, make sure everyone is staying safe as well. And we're also talking about several other photos. We can go ahead and advance the next graphic over on to Max 2, John. That'd be appreciated. Look at this. Also in Portage. These are all in Portage, Michigan, by the way. The roof is torn off for a good portion of the building right there. Not exactly sure what building this is. It looks like it's not quite sure, but the tiles are off the roof. A good portion of the roof is gone. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the next viewer photo. We have one more. I don't have words for this. I hope everyone got to their safe space. Not sure exactly where this is again in Portage, but the roof is gone. The side of the building is gone as well. We're going to keep you guys updated both on air and online as far as what's going on with this building that we're seeing. So keep sending in your photos and also your videos. We're monitoring them over also on Facebook as well. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live also. We're on air as well as we're tracking some very strong storms moving into our area. In fact, let's check back in. Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers. Chris, what are we seeing on radar right now? How many warnings are we seeing at the moment?
Well, and that's the good news. And I'll be very clear about what our intention is, at this point. If we want to widen this picture out in just a moment here, we've got one storm here that was really producing extremely large and dangerous hail in Hillsdale County. To put this in perspective, if you're just joining us, we're 10 minutes away from 8 o'clock. This storm in Hillsdale County was reported to be producing baseball-sized hail across northern Indiana and eventually golf ball-sized hail. It does look like it is weakened somewhat, so a lot of that hail may have been dropped out of that storm. So we were on air monitoring that, in addition to multiple tornado warnings. Then we've got a tornado warning down there in Paulding County. Now, I suspect if we can see that that is not going to pose a risk to our area, we'll feel much better about sending you back to a regularly scheduled programming, and of course we'll be here to advise you if that would be changing. But we had two storms that were of concern, one of them producing a destructive tag on that. Let's take you up toward Hillsdale County, and a quick look at this, because I still suspect we've got a little bit of a hail core in this area that is now crossing M30 just east of Hillsdale that is continued, and there it is. There's the hail core. I'm going to estimate that's probably about a quarter to ping pong ball sized hail at the very worst. So it's not that gigantic hail that was being reported earlier. There are some additional severe weather alerts that are just north of us, but that is not of our concern. But meteorologist Kaylee Bauer, she showed us what some of the damage has been doing. But this storm here still continues as it approaches Route 12. So this is going to be drifting to the north and to the east, and eventually may end up clipping Devil's Lake. So I want you to be prepared in Devil's Lake. You're about ready to get hit with a heavy storm that could be producing some very large hail that's headed your way. Just north of Pittsford, here we are in Hudson, Michigan. There's Hudson. Here's Addison right here. So it's also going to get you in Addison. So I want you to just be prepared. Just west of Addison, that is over toward North Adams, now south of Route 12. That is an area of very large hail that is reported just west of 127. So a storm that is producing some very large hail. Let's head back down now to Paulding County, where that active tornado warning is. And if we could also tap that tornado warning as well, would love to know what time that tornado warning is in effect, because what it's done, it's consolidated significantly. So it's to a very defined specific area. And if we deem that this is not a threat no longer for our area, that would be some good news. And we'd be very hopeful that we'd be able to do that. But that is in effect for Paulding County until 8:15. That tornado warning, as it continues to track to the east, it has stayed relatively south of Route 24, but is getting ready to cross 127 south of Paulding as that continues to move to the east. East-northeast or so, right around 30 to 35 miles per hour. And our concern would be if it made its way over toward Defiance County and parts of Henry County. This is about the time that we'd be looking at that. It's after 8:15, including Defiance and over toward Holgate, which would be after 8:32 with this particular storm. Still an active situation where we're seeing that rotation, and that rotation that may continue as this storm is feeding on an unstable atmosphere and environment. We've got constant communication that's been going on. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby as well. He's alongside here. Matt, what's the latest on that storm up in Hillsdale County? I want to know, it appears the threat of hail seems to be diminishing with that storm.
To at least diminish a little bit. So as we bring it back up to at least that storm into Hillsdale, still an active warning, but of course heading more into the at least northeastern portion of Hillsdale County right now. So we'll take a closer look at where exactly this is heading towards. This is a little bit on the corner as well of Lenawee County. So we're talking Somerset. You're in that area where that warning is still right on the corner right there. And as we take a look at it, still that severe thunderstorm warning still tagged as considerable. And it is currently moving. Let's see what we're seeing right now. Currently moving right around 45 miles per hour northeast. So we're still seeing the hazard of 2-inch size hail and, of course, 60 mile per hour gusts. So, hey, if you're in this area, make sure you head indoors. And one thing also, not only yourself, but bring those animals indoors as well as you go throughout the next several hours. So still seeing this as a very active severe thunderstorm warning as of right now. John, do you have any new information as of right now as well?
Yeah, so I have a couple updated quantitative numbers to just really put some numbers to this thunderstorm up in Hillsdale County. We are getting some reports in the city of Hillsdale of pea-sized hail, so certainly greatly diminished from what it was at earlier. And in terms of the wind, folks are observing that this one's not overly gusty. There was a 23-mile-an-hour wind report in Hillsdale. There is some very heavy torrential rain occurring with this one, but there still could be some large hail if this one does pulse up. With these supercell thunderstorms, they operate in phases or cycles. In other words, the hail may briefly diminish and then it could intensify again. So pea-sized hail right now, but I do want to give you a visual of the hail that this thunderstorm produced earlier in northern Indiana. I got this photo. There's a quarter there, and this gives you an idea. This hail is approximately 2 to 3 times the size of that quarter. I would go so far as to say that is close to baseball-sized hail, and that was in northern Indiana just about 30 to 60 minutes ago. So you do want to take this thunderstorm very seriously, although it is certainly good news that at least in Hillsdale County, we aren't getting any extremely large hail reports, just that pea-sized hail report coming in out of the city of Hillsdale. I do want to show you the latest hail track, and that is some good news. It does appear that the hail is diminishing out of this one. Right now, the worst of the hail is actually to the north and northeast of Hillsdale, so could potentially see some hail that clips into Lenawee County, but overall, the hail is diminishing. I want to loop this over the last hour to show you that hail track. You'll notice some of the brighter green colors colors that were occurring in northern Indiana, that's indicative of some very, very large hail. I'm going to slow it down a little bit to really show you the evolution of this supercell thunderstorm. Those yellows and those greens that you saw near Auburn, Indiana, that is representative of 2 to 3 inch diameter hail, and that green and that yellow, that corresponds to this photo that you're seeing on your screen right now, that hail that is close to the size of a baseball. As of now in Hillsdale, I'm not seeing any signs that there are hailstones of that magnitude, but we're still keeping a very close eye on it. We also have our eyes on Paulding County right now. The National Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning until 8:30, and that one's getting a little too close for comfort. We are watching that one and the potential impacts on Putnam County, Defiance County, and Henry County as well. I'm going to pop radar back on as that thunderstorm continues its eastern trajectory. Folks, as Chris pointed out, in Holgate and Hamler, you want to be on high alert if this storm does head in your direction. Southern Defiance County, far northwestern Putnam County. Now is the time to start coming up with that emergency preparedness plan, even though you are not under the active grasps of this tornado warning. When you see something like this on Doppler radar, and when you see the NWS extending that warning, the updated information on this new warning for Paulding County is until 8:30 p.m. So due to that extension, this one is not showing any signs of relenting or letting up. So folks in northwestern Putnam County, southwestern Henry County, and southern Defiance County want to be on high alert with this thunderstorm moving on through. Lenawee County now does appear to be getting some heavy rain and perhaps some small hail as well. And it does look like that severe thunderstorm warning in Hillsdale has been trimmed a little bit. I'm going to just do warnings here. So the city of Hillsdale no longer under that severe thunderstorm warning, but this does include the far northeastern fringes of the county. Latest information on this warning is until 8:15. Current time is 7:58, so there's still 17 minutes left on this one. The National Weather Service has still indicated the chance for hail that is up to 1.5 inch in diameter. As I mentioned, sometimes these supercell thunderstorms pulse or they undergo a life cycle that could involve strengthening once again. So even though the hail core is not looking as concerning right now, this one could still pulse up and produce some very large damaging hail. These are the current active warnings as of 7:58 p.m., keeping a very close eye on that tornado warning that is in Paulding County and on its potential impacts to our area. We're continuing to monitor storm reports as well. Off in northern Indiana, there was just another 3-inch hail report, this time from the National Weather Service coming in Kendallville. So I want to zoom in on some of these areas that are getting some exceedingly large hail reports. Up near Kendallville, Indiana, there was a report of 3-inch hail. I'm going to put the query tool on there. Yeah, 3 inches. Here's another one of 1.8-inch hail. This gives you an idea of just how widespread that was. Ashley, Indiana, where that 3-inch hail, this photo that I showed earlier, that is actually from Ashley, Indiana, and that is the same thunderstorm that made its way up to Hillsdale. Now, thankfully, it did weaken a little bit, and I'm not getting any large damaging reports out of Hillsdale, but we are still watching that tornado warning very closely. Chris?
So we've had some good news with that. That destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Hillsdale County, that has been allowed to expire. So right here at the top of the hour, coming up in 30 seconds, we're going to send you back to our regularly scheduled programming. But know this, we're going to keep an eye very close on this Paulding County tornado warning. Should that move into Putnam County, Defiance County, or parts of Henry County, I just want you to be extra alert. We will continue to follow that. There are no active severe alerts that are in our area. Some strong storms up there toward Lenawee County, but nothing that is severe at this point. We'll keep close eyes on this one down in Paulding County, and should we need to continue to cut in, we'll be here for you this evening.